Hello everyone, I'm the champ, Tokisho Timeha Tupamang. Welcome to the Impact Show. The Impact Show, bonus episode number 1, coming to you every Sunday. The title of this bonus episode is going to be Build It. Yes, you heard me right. Build it. We must build our marriages. We must build our careers. We must build our businesses. We must build our families. And we must even build a child. That's what I'm talking about. So the title of this episode is going to be Build It. God says to Jeremiah, some kingdoms you must uproot, destroy, and overthrow. Some you must plant and build. 5 things. Some kingdoms, Jeremiah, I have equipped you and empowered you to uproot, to overthrow, and to destroy. I've also equipped you and empowered you to plant some kingdoms and to build some kingdoms. Therefore, this bonus episode is going to be divided into 2 parts. The first part is the one we are dealing with today. We are dealing with the first 3: uprooting, destroy, and overthrow. God can never ask us to do something that we cannot do. If he wants us to do something, if he asks us to do something, if he leads us to do something, it means that he has empowered us to do that particular thing. He has empowered us physically, he has empowered us financially, he has empowered us psychologically and even spiritually. And if in certain areas we are not up there, we have the mental capacity to be able to do what we can do, to maneuver, to meet the right people so that we can have the relevant resources to be able to do what we can do. As human beings, the fact that we have a desire to do something, it means that we have what it takes to do that particular thing. The fact that you have the desire to swim, it means that you have what it takes to swim. You might not know how to swim, but that does not mean that you can never know how to swim. The fact that you desire to drive a car, it means that you have innate possibilities in you, capabilities in you to be able to drive a car. Whether you know how to drive a car or not is a different topic, but you have it in you to drive a car. The fact that you have a desire to become a millionaire, it means that you have it in you to become a millionaire. Whether you're broke, whether you are poor, is a total different topic, but the potential is there. You can never have a desire of something that which you cannot fulfill. So we are going to look into 3 parts. Part number 1 is uprooting. When we talk about uprooting, we are talking about to pluck out and to remove something without any trace of existence. When he says to Jeremiah, some kingdoms you must uproot, it means that he was telling him some kingdoms, some dominions, some cultures, some habits you must be able to uproot and overthrow and make them disappear without any trace of existence. A typical example will be a tree. You know, there are places where you will remove the tree with its roots completely out. You don't cut the tree. You remove the tree with its roots completely out and you build something there. Maybe you put a pavement there, or maybe you build a house there. And people who know that geographical place historically, they will tell other people that, hey, there was once a tree there. But the people who only knew the place after you have built the house, they'll say, no. The big tree has never been here. This place has always been like this. Why? Because you have uprooted the tree without any trace of existence. So God says to Jeremiah, some kingdoms you must uproot. You know, we have it in us to uproot, to pluck out and to remove certain things from our life without any trace of existence. You have it in you to remove undesirable things from your life so that they disappear without any trace of existence. They disappear so much that the people who meet you when those things are no more, they will not believe the stories that those things were once there in your life. Now, what are some of the things that you must remove from your life without any trace? The first thing that you must endeavor to remove from your life is poverty, lack, and suffering. Yes, you must endeavor to remove from your life without any trace of existence. You must endeavor to uproot from your life poverty, lack, and suffering. You know, when you look at these 3 points from a historical perspective, Black people, they have been disadvantaged historically, politically and economically. But just because we are being born into poverty, lack and suffering, it doesn't mean that we must live the rest of our lives in poverty, lack and suffering. One bishop says that just because you were born in the circumstance, it doesn't mean that you have to stay in the circumstance. You have no choice into what you are born into, but you have a choice whether you remain into what you are born into. There are people who have used education to rise up from poverty and lack, and when you look at them today and they put pictures during their graduation and during the time when they are working, when they put pictures of the houses that they grew in and the houses that now they have built, you become shocked, you become surprised because of the vast difference between the two households or between the two homes. It means that they grew to uproot, destroy, and overthrow the lack, the suffering, and the poverty which they were born into. Some people, they did not go to school, they did not have degrees and diplomas and doctorates, but they have exploited the business world so much that they have transformed their lives. And when you look at them and what they were born into and their childhood lives, it is totally differently. Some people went into politics, some people went into farming. This means that there are different mediums that you can align yourself with in order for you to eradicate, to remove and to uproot poverty, lack and suffering from your life. It does not matter what gender you are. It does not matter what race you are. It does not matter what age you are in. Maybe you feel like I've lost time, I've lost a number of years. No, the day you come across this message, you can wake up and make a conscious decision that, you know what, I'm tired of this suffering, I'm tired of this lack, I'm tired of this poverty. I'm going to uproot it, I'm going to remove it without any trace of existence. That even your children, when they come into maturity, when you show them your pictures when you were their age, they don't believe it and they get inspired by your story. And other people in the community, your peers and those who are coming after you, they get inspired by your story. Why? Because you refuse to subject yourself to the lack, the poverty and the suffering which you were born into. Remember, God says to Jeremiah, some kingdoms you must uproot, which means that you have it in you to uproot whatever that you need to uproot and destroy from your life so that you can live a good and a solid life. Now, the second thing that you must uproot from your life, it is destructive habits. You must have the ability to uproot destructive habits from your life. There are people that they have a habitual way of thinking poverty. They have a habitual way of thinking lack. They have a habitual way of thinking about tough times. They have a habitual way of thinking about destruction, of thinking about something evil that is coming. If a glass of water is falling out of the table, they are scared. They say, yeah, they are coming after me. They cannot think of anything positive. If the tire is burst and they have a breakdown next to the road, they say, yeah, they are coming after me. If a child does not do well at school, they say, yeah, they are coming after me. If retrenchment comes, they say, yeah, it's coming after. It means that they have trained their mind to habitually think on the negative. They have trained their mind to habitually think on the evil side. And that is the basis of what is happening in their life, because their minds attract all these different activities, which confirms their habitual way of thinking. Therefore, you need to challenge yourself and expose your mind to new material which will stretch it to be able to see the positive even in the bad, to be able to see the light even if the times are dark, to be able to see employment even if unemployment is rising, to be able to see the business growing, stabilizing and moving forward even though there's competition, even though there's unhealthy competition. I submit to you that your number one enemy might not be the devil. Your number one enemy might not be demons. Your number one enemy might not be witchcraft. Your number one enemy might be your habitual way of thinking, which is wrong, which is negative, that my love relationship does not last, they always cheat on me, they always play with me, and you will get exactly that because that's what you are used to. And when you get someone who treats you right, who loves you right, who supports you, who wants to see you growing and becoming better, you play with that person. Why? Because you are not used to be loved the right way, simply because of one trauma, two trauma, or three trauma that happened to you in your past, and you are holding on to that habitual way of thinking. So as a person, looking at this podcast, as this episode, watching this message today, you need to come to terms with the fact that I have not been thinking right about my future. I've not been thinking right about my health. I've not been thinking right about my job. I've not been thinking right about God. I've not been thinking right about politics. I've not been thinking right about a lot of things. I need to correct my thinking. How do I correct my thinking? One of the ways is to stay glued to the Impact Show podcast. It will help you to correct your thinking. How do you correct your thinking? One of the ways is to look forward to part 2 of this message. It will help you to correct your thinking. How do you correct your thinking? One of the ways is to start exposing yourself to different material, books, documents, and movies, which will stretch your mind and help you to see situations from a different perspective. Remember, some kingdoms you must uproot. It means that you have it in you to uproot that mentality, because you were not born with that pattern of thinking. You were not born with that pattern of thinking. You were programmed into that pattern of thinking because of experiences that you faced, that you encountered, painful situations, traumas that you encountered, the community in which you come from, the things you had at school, the intake you took from social media platforms. They sharpened your thinking subtly and subconsciously so. And then you are the product of all those kind of things. But you can reverse the whole equation by following the same steps, but on the positive side. Now, the third thing that you must remove without trace, you must have the ability to remove bad characters in your life. They say that 5 people that you spend most of your time with give a summation or a summary of your life. You can never rise, you can never become better than the average rate of the 5 people in which you spend your time with. So sometimes, we position people in our lives as kings or queens. We give them a leadership position where they have it in them to dictate us where we can go, where we cannot go. Sometimes friends dictate us what we should do, what we should wear, where we should go, what we should say. It started as friendship, but the relationship is slightly leaning towards toxicity, and you have allowed them, you have given them that room, you made them exploit you, you made them use you. In their birthdays, you came through for them. In your birthdays, they did not come through for you. When they were not working, you come through for them. When you are not working, they don't come through for you. When they had financial crisis, you came through for them. When you have a financial crisis, they are not coming through for you. These are rotten characters in your life which somehow are making your life difficult, but you need to have the courage to remove all these rotten characters from your life so that you can live a peaceful life. Why? Because they are only sucking life out of you without pouring into you, and you are the only one who pours into them. The Bible says that Moses, when he came to age, left Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king. The wrath of the king, they are talking about Pharaoh. Remember, Pharaoh's daughter took Moses in when he was still a baby from the river and raised him as his son. And he rose up in the palace, or he grew up in the palace as a grandchild of Pharaoh. Pharaoh took Moses to school. Pharaoh fed Moses. Pharaoh trained Moses. Everything that Moses experienced and enjoyed as a young man and as a child, it was coming from the benefit of being in close proximity to Pharaoh and being the grandchild of Pharaoh through being adopted by the daughter of Pharaoh. But when Moses came to age, he realized that being in this house does not serve the purpose of God for my life. Being in this place does not serve the purpose of God for my life. God wants me to be a deliverer of the people which are oppressed by Pharaoh. Now I'm scared of this man because he deposited so much into my life. Nevertheless, I will leave. The Bible says that he left Egypt not fearing the wrath of the king, and he was prepared in the wilderness for 40 years, and then he came back again and challenged the man who deposited into him, who made him grow up. What am I saying? Sometimes for a particular season, people will plant into our life, people will give into our life, people will bless us in certain way. But when they start to choke us from becoming what we should really become, when they start to hold us back, when they try to make us feel like we owe them, therefore we cannot stretch, therefore we cannot take certain key decisions which will move our lives forward, and those decisions will offend them, then you are at a crossroad. You need to make a decision, because sometimes you're going to offend the uncle who paid your school fees. Sometimes you're going to offend the guardian who was there for you. Sometimes you're going to offend the leader who was there for you. Not because you're disrespecting them, not because you're doing something that is wrong, but because you are doing something that they don't approve, something that they don't want from you, you are taking a direction that they think that no, you should not be going this way, you must be going this way. Sometimes because they've deposited so much in you, unconsciously they think that they have it in them to dictate the direction of your life. That is the crossroad that you are going to reach, and you must make a hard decision like Moses. And if Moses could do it, then you are also able to do it. You are able to disappoint people if need be. You are able to hurt people if need be, for the sake of your life, for the sake of your future, for the sake of your marriage, for the sake of your career, for the sake of your business. Sometimes you are not going to be able to hire family members because you know what can come from that perspective. You have it in you to uproot certain people from your life, rotten characters from your life, so that you can live a life that you are dreaming about, a life that you want to live. Those are the three things: uprooting certain things from your life so that you can be able to move forward, so that you can be able to overcome. Point number 2, the second point is that God says to Jeremiah, some things, some kingdoms you must destroy. Remember, he says some kingdoms you must uproot, destroy, and overthrow. So the second point that you are dealing with is to destroy. When you talk about to destroy, we are talking about to destroy is to damage something. It is to ruin something. It is to demolish something completely, that it ceases to exist. In other words, it stops to exist or to function, and it can no longer be repaired. When you destroy something, you make it to stop to exist. You destroy it beyond repair. It can no longer be repaired. It can no longer bounce back. It can no longer be fixed. But on this one, I want to turn it around and look at it from a character assassination perspective. From a character assassination perspective. Listen to me. No matter how good you are, there are people who are always going to try to assassinate your character. No matter how friendly you are, no matter how humble you are, no matter how loving you are, no matter how forgiving you are, there will always be somebody or a group of people who are always going to try to assassinate your character. People that you have been in partnership with. When the partnership ends or when the partnership fails, they are going to try to assassinate your character. People that you've been in relationship with, love relationships, business relationships, all kinds of relationship. When that relationship goes south, the first thing that they're going to try to do is to try to assassinate your character. People that look at you and envy you, people who are jealous of you, people who are competing with you secretly, and in their eyes they can't get the better of you. They are going to try to destroy your character. You might be building a business and say, yeah, he's building a good business, but he's a bad person. You might be having a wonderful marriage and say, yeah, the marriage is nice, but he or she is treating the husband or the spouse in a bad way. He or she is a bad person. He might be getting good marks, but he's a bad person. There will always be attempt to assassinate your character, to destroy it beyond repair, and they are doing it so that other people may see you the way they see you or the way they paint you to be, and in the process your character assassination will close doors for you. People who should come through for you, people who should open doors for you, people who should promote you, people who should speak for you, so that certain people might give you opportunities, might not give you that opportunity. Why? Simply because of the bad stuff that they've heard about you. But listen to me, you have it in you to bounce back from all the character assassination. Why? Because if you can do something, it means that you can do the opposite of that particular thing. If you can stay the whole day without bathing, it means that you can bath. And if you can stay the whole day, if you can bath 3 times a day, it means that you can stay 3 days without bathing. My point is that if you can do something, then you can do the opposite of it. So if God says that some kingdoms you must destroy and beyond repair, it means that you have the ability in you to repair the injustice of the destruction that is brought upon your life without merit. Why? Because you did not do anything. People just decided to try to assassinate your character, and because it is unjustified, because it is not based on facts, truth, and principle, you have what it takes to bounce back from it, because the truth has a way of coming out, and the truth will set you free. My last point, and then I'll be done. Some kingdoms you must uproot, destroy, and overthrow. When you talk about overthrowing, we are talking about primarily, it means to overthrow a leader or a government or a regime from power, usually using force. If you are going to overthrow certain people from your life, if you are going to overthrow certain habits, if you are going to overthrow certain things from your life, removing them from power, it's not going to come easy. It is not going to happen, in a soft way, in a casual state. You need to be forceful. You need to be intentional. You understand? You need to be principled that I want to overthrow the existence of this thing that is dominating me. I want to overthrow poverty from my life. I want to overthrow unemployment. I want to overthrow ignorance. I want to overthrow incompetence. I want to overthrow unforgiveness from my heart. I want to overthrow bitterness from my heart. I want to uproot it. I want to destroy it beyond repair. Some kingdoms you must uproot, destroy, and overthrow. Certain things that have been ruling, reigning, and dominating your life. Only you have what it takes to overthrow that king, that thing that is reigning and controlling your life. This was part number 1 of the message, Build It. In the next episode, we'll be dealing with planting and building. This is the bonus episode. This is the Impact Show, coming to you every Sunday in the evening. I'm the champ. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and market the podcast, The Impact Show, on your different social media platform. God bless you. Till we meet again. Thank you.